Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast. So today we've got an exciting subject, which is the gut biome. We all have learned a lot about the gut biome, let's say over the last 10 years or so. And we've also learned a lot about, let's say, pathogenic bacteria. So let's talk this through and maybe a little bit different way than you've ever heard it talked through before. But I want to challenge your thinking a little bit, and I want to throw some things out there for your consideration. Okay, so we all know, we're driving down the side of the road, and we see that roadkill, that squirrel or bunny or whatever that unfortunately got hit by a car, right? And so we drive by it on day one, and it just looks pretty normal, but it's just not moving anymore. We drive by it on day 2 or 3, and maybe it's a little bloated. We drive by it a week from when it happened, and now it's beginning to look decayed. And 3 weeks later, it's just kind of fur, right? Well, what happens to that thing? Let's say no predators get at it. What happens to that thing is that, and again, when and how does this happen? This is not anywhere in science yet, but I'll give you my theory on what happens. But what is life, right? What donates you being alive? And is your table alive? Is this wall alive? It's cells, and they're doing things, and they're, trying to stay alive and reproduce and all that kind of stuff. So, what is the definition of life, right? And where do you draw that line? Well, certainly the way that it looks to me is that it has to do with electron flow. And so, if you're robust and you're healthy and all that, you're going to have a high electron flow. You're going to be moving, let's say, a lot of energy in your cells, and you're going to have a lot of energy moving, right? But that dead thing by the side of the road, again, when we, let's say, die, or our organs, and again, when you die, what does that mean? Your cells are still alive, a lot of them, right? So, but let's say when our organs stop functioning, our ability to move electrons kind of goes down. And I think there's likely a level there that begins to attract bacteria. Okay. So, at some level, something is dead, and it's time for the world to begin to break that thing down, right? So take that thing down to the carbons and the very simple molecules that it is. And that's the cool thing about our world. And that's exactly what happens to that, let's say, dead thing by the side of the road, is the world breaks it down and reuses its substance. So cool stuff, very godly, right? But again, what's that line? When does that happen? And when does that start happening to you? And that is the interesting thing. And I'll say that clinically, we see, let's say, those same bugs that will break down that squirrel by the side of the road in people. But it's usually people who are pretty, immune compromised, right? So it's usually somebody who's got a weaker immune system for whatever reason. And what does that mean? Lower electron flow, lower energy. Okay. So, there's that, right? And so when we begin to look at, well, we have this bacteria, inside of us, we've got these bacteria inside of our gut biome, and their purpose is to break down food. Well, yeah, that's what bacteria do. They break stuff down. But I don't, again, do we really want and need that inside of ourselves? We do right now with our current diet. Okay. So we do right now with our current diet, and we'll talk about how diet works in the biome in just a second. But I just want to throw this out for your consideration that I am of the opinion that I think we evolve. I think we evolve as humankind and as a species when we figure out how to live without a biome. Okay. Because I don't think we need it, but I think we do. It is a makeup system right now because we don't understand our diet, and we're also malnourished. So it's important to our existence right now, but I think we'll move beyond, needing it. In what world do you need fleas and ticks on you, right? So we don't need parasites living off of us. We need to, I would think a high truth in science should be to really try to figure out how to live without parasites. Okay. But until we figure that out, or pathogens or bacteria or whatever you want to call these guys, but until we figure that out, we've got a gut biome, so we're stuck with one. Now, what does this biome do? Well, first of all, let's talk about how the gut biome is formed and how it's configurable to a certain degree. And again, none of us knew this even, let's say, 10 years ago, some of this even 5 years ago. So this is pretty new stuff in science. And it really hasn't made it, again, it'll take 20 years to make it in the curriculum anywhere. And again, this isn't exactly, this doesn't exactly row with the way the water flows right now. So it's kind of contrary, let's say, to a lot of thinking. So it likely will take a little longer, but maybe not. We made the right decision in our election. And if we have somebody like RFK Jr. come in and, change health, then, well, that's very exciting. And maybe some of these new ideas can get out there quicker. So let me talk about a little bit about how you work as a machine. So the most important thing that you do to your machine every day is you feed it, right? So you're putting gas, so to speak, in your machine. Well, when we eat, and this is how the gut biome is formed. So what is the most important thing that you eat every day? Omega-3 and omega-6 fats. All right. Nobody knows that right now, but that is highest truth. I could prove that to you 100,000 ways from Sunday. So basically, highest truth is the most important things that you eat every day are omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Why? Because they build every single chemical in saturated fat, monounsaturated fat, but they build every single chemical mediator that you need in your body. So testosterone and estrogen and cholesterol and progesterone and pregnenolone and, signaling mediators and, ways that you hit neuroreceptors and all that come from omega-3 and omega-6 fats. And omega-3 and omega-6 fats are the main fats that fuel the endocannabinoid system, okay? So if you're deficient in those fats or those fats are disbalanced, then you're going to need a makeup system. Otherwise, your vehicle is not going to function properly. So if you just are eating all omega-6 fats like we do right now, that is really inflammatory and really reactive. So in your gut, and the gut biome is nothing but a makeup system. It's we make a decision in our hypothalamus hippocampus. We are malnourished or not. It's a binary decision. You either got enough omega-3, omega-6 in the right ratio, or you didn't. If you didn't, then you need a makeup system. Otherwise, you will not be able to run your machine. And the makeup system is the gut biome. Okay. So the makeup system is the gut biome, and the gut biome literally saves our lives right now. Without the gut biome, we would be so reactive and so inflammatory that literally a minor allergy could kill you. Okay. But the gut biome is responsible for making up for nutritional deficiencies. And right now, our nutritional deficiencies have to do with omega-3 fats. So we have to have a whopping biome to be able to offset this huge nutritional deficiency that we have. That whopping biome is complicated and sophisticated and can get out of control, but it is somewhat managed by the endocannabinoid system, roughly, let's say. And it's also completely driven by food. All right. So when you look at, gosh, my gut biome might be off. I need some probiotics. Stop right there. Don't do it. You may need probiotics, okay? But probiotics are a way to force kind of the gut biome into a configuration. And again, the gut biome is responding to your malnourishment. So it's not really a good idea to try to force it down a path, because that path might not be beneficial to you. So I would, unless you have monitored your gut biome, you know exactly what the bacterial makeup is of your gut biome, and you're taking probiotics to very specifically change things, then okay. But I wouldn't just go to, Sprouts and buy some probiotics and slam them just because I think it's a good idea. That can cause you more harm than good. I'll just tell you right now, because again, your biome is responding to your diet, and it's a makeup system that is giving you stuff that you need that you're not getting from your diet. So if you mess with it, again, you're not going to be getting stuff that you need, I guess is the best way to say it. If you take antibiotics will almost completely wipe out, let's say, the diversity in your biome. And then you've got a situation where, kind of based on what you eat and also based on, let's say, the competition that's left, that biome can get badly out of whack. And we're going to talk about how to fix all this in just a second. So, But the big thing is the biome is pretty persistent, but it's persistent around your diet. And so let's say you were a meat eater, and you decided that you were going to go vegan. Well, that would likely be enough of a change to begin to change your gut biome. Would it change it for the good? That depends on what it was. It depends on what type of vegan food you eat. Okay, but let's talk this through. So there's two major types of bacteria that are in your gut biome. So one type is called firmicutes, and the other type is called bacteroids. So bacteroids are more oxygen, and they're more, let's say they're more caloric. So they require more energy and they consume more energy. And so as a result, those are the guys that are really going to be manipulating you and really calling for more, let's say, food, and not the greatest food in the world. So they like simple carbohydrates like potato chips and cookies and sugar and things like that. So it's their, need a lot of energy and a lot of calories, and they want those calories as quick as they can get them, and that is in the form of glucose, usually, or high fructose corn syrup. And so you will crave those things. They'll cause you to crave those things. They'll cause you to, crave alcohol if you drink, alcohol, right? Because alcohol is just a sugar, and they love the sugars. The other type of bacteria they have in your gut are called firmicutes, and these guys are more, let's say, they're more toward a lean phenotype. They're a little bit. I don't think either one of these guys are beneficial, so that's why I'm kind of hedging. But these guys are a little bit more beneficial than the other guys. And so when you see like an obesity profile, we usually have an overgrowth of bacteroids. Clostridia bacteria is a real, kind of common thing to have in an obesity profile. So there's profiles associated with these things. I talked to a company, I'm going to give them a shout out, called Gut ID the other day, and Gut ID is using poop tests or fecal tests to be able to determine what the biome is, and then they're using AI to begin to make conclusions about the biome, which is really cool. So what does an obesity biome look like? Well, they've got a good idea of what that looks like now. And, it looks like overgrowth, right? And so overgrowth, you can control with your food. You can control with what you're putting in your mouth. And I don't mean eat less if you're obese. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying eat different. And you can change, your whole physicality, which is really cool. It's looking like there's an autism biome. And that makes sense because autism looks to me like a result of not being able to process in particular omega-3 and omega-6 fats properly. And so back to how I opened this, that would create a whopping situation if you couldn't nutrient yourself through omega-3, omega-6, you're going to have a huge biome because you're going to have a lot of, let's say, makeup stuff. And that's exactly what the autism biome is looking like. So it's really cool to begin to see, all this theory that we've had, as far as the gut biome, its relation to disease, its relation to your health, and its relationship to food. So, it's, again, garbage in, garbage out, like we say in programming, so if you're an old computer programmer like me, GIGO, which means garbage in, garbage out. But it's the same thing with our machine, and it makes sense. So if we eat a bunch of potato chips and cookies and sugars and soda pop and stuff like that, we are feeding kind of the wrong side of this bacterial equation inside of us. If we can eat more omega-3 and omega-6 fats, add to this kind of bad side, and you've heard me talk about omega-6 fats forever, but omega-3 fats really help this situation. They help promote better bacteria. Again, complex carbohydrates, so fiber. But complex fiber really helps promote a good gut biome. Most people who struggle with obesity don't eat a lot of fiber, and they don't eat a lot of fermented food. And so we say fiber in a fermenter is really going to begin to change the composition of your biome, and it will. We made some products at True Medics that I'm really proud of. So we have a gut product that's really good. Again, it's got fiber and, fermenter, and it's got some berberine in it and things like that. We've got a blast product that is more really for H. pylori, but it will also help, conform your biome. So we're paying a lot of attention to the biome. I would say this is just, I know a lot about this. I know quite a bit about the biome and how it's affecting you, but it's still new science, right? So I wish that I had a team and a bunch of research assistants where we could go really ferret this out, and maybe we will in the future. But for right now, we know we can configure it. We know that it's damaging or can be damaging to your health if it gets misconfigured in a variety of ways. Teenage acne is probably related to the gut biome, right? And, so is rheumatoid arthritis and, heart disease and kidney failure and a bunch of other stuff, can be consequences, let's say, of a dysregulated gut biome. So we know the importance of it in disease. And the cool thing is now, enough is bubbling up, let's say, through the pharma, cap on truth telling and information. Enough is beginning to bubble up now to really indicate that this is configurable, right? And fiber, if you look at kind of how when you eat and kind of what happens pharmacologically, fiber is a super important thing. Fiber pushes some very big buttons inside of you, like PPARs, which are inside every cell, and how your cell is basically generating energy from beta oxidation. So super important stuff. But fiber pushes a big switch and pushes kind of a big, let's say, configuration pathway. So we know fiber just pharmacologically is super important, but now it's actually proving out that, complex fibers feed these Firmicutes type bacteria, which are, more beneficial. They're not beneficial if they get overgrown, so they're as bad as the other ones. But the other ones tend to, when they get overgrown, tend to form the obesity type profile. And again, obesity is touching 60% of us now, 33% of our kids. So to me, it's the biggest health problem out there. Anyway, we'll leave it here for today. So we'll be back with another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast next week. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. Certainly go check out www.truemedx when you have a second. Let me see if I have a banner. Oh, yes. Let's see here. Hold on just a second. I could probably throw it up. Oh, I can't. Anyway, TRUEMEDX. It's probably on here somewhere. It'll be on the promos. But go check us out at TrueMedix. We've got gut-based products. We've got several ways to take them. We've got tinctures. We've got tablets. We've got powders. So no matter kind of what your situation, autistic situations are always interesting as to route of delivery. But no matter what your situation, we've got you covered. So come check us out. And if you're in the Oklahoma City area, come check us out at neighborlywellness.com. We'll help you. We'll help you with your health problem. Even you don't have to be in Oklahoma City area. Go hit the website and book an appointment. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about what's going on with you. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week for another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast. Bye.